Hey y'all, welcome to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Leighanne and I talk about books. Today I'm doing a book tag and it's been a while since I've done one. It's really just been a while since I filmed in general. So here we are, but this tag is the Do I Have That Book tag or challenge. It was an original tag that was created by Tabby from Keeping Tab. I have things in my hand, but I will link the original video in the down bar below so you can check that out. Pretty much this is 20 questions, varying prompts. You just have to figure out if you have a book that fits that prompt on your bookshelf. So I guess in a way it's kind of like a mini shelf tour even. So set that baby down, cold coffee. Love it. Number one is, do you have a book with deckled edges? Yes, I have a book with deckled edges. This is The Heretic's Daughter by Kathleen Kent. I read this a couple of months ago, historical fiction about Salem witch trials. It was pretty good, but it has deckled edges. Number two, do you have a book with 3 or more people on the cover? This could be a challenge. Man, I don't know if I do. I don't have a lot of books with people on the cover. Ha! Got him. Okay, so 3 or more people on the cover, and y'all, the vast majority of my books, well, not the vast majority, but I have a lot of Stephen King books, so you're probably gonna see this pop up a little bit. Anyway, we have this edition of The Shining, Jack Torrance, Danny Torrance, and Wendy Torrance. So, number 3, do you have a book based on another fictional story? Yes, I do. For that, we're gonna use Norse mythology, which is basically Neil Gaiman going through and retelling Norse myths. So I think I have a couple other things too. I also have this retelling, Boy Snowbird. This is by Helen Oyeyemi, and this is a Snow White retelling. I haven't read it yet, but I've heard really good things about it. So number 4, do you have a book with a title 10 letters long? Does that mean 10 letters total, or like one word 10 letters, or multiple words? We're gonna pick another Stephen King book for this. This is The Regulators, which we're just not gonna count so Regulators is 10 letters. Number 5, do you have a book that starts and ends with the same letter? I'm sure I do. I have to look at this and For this one, we're gonna go with Lost Boy, Lost Girl. Both start and end with L. I haven't read this book yet, but I did read a Peter Straub earlier this year and didn't love it, so that's a thing. Number 6, do you have a mass market paperback? This shelf is out of the frame, but I have a ton of mass markets up here. So like I have The Art of War, I have Catcher in the Rye, I have Island of the Blue Dolphins, I have Fahrenheit 451, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I hope that you can actually see all of those. So those are just some of the mass markets that I own. Do you have a book from an author using a pen name? Yes, I do. Nick Cutter is actually a pseudonym, and I did not know that. Greg Davidson, I think, is his actual name, and he actually does write fiction, but I haven't read any, so I am looking forward to actually reading some work from him by his actual name. I don't know, he writes horror under Nick Cutter, so I don't actually know what the genre is that he writes that's not horror or under his regular name. I don't know. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. I didn't realize that was a pseudonym. Do you have a book with a character's name in the title? I am sure that I do. For this one, we're gonna go with Circe. This is by Madeline Miller. Mythology retelling, beautiful, beautiful writing, but if you don't like character driven, don't pick this up because it is entirely character driven. Do you have a book with 2 maps in it? Yes, I do, and the only reason that I know that is because I just started this book today. Hang on. This is 6 of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. There are 2 maps, so you have this map, and you have this map. Look at that shit. I would have never known about the 2 maps if I had not started this today. I would have struggled really hard with that question. Do you have a book that was turned into a TV show? I actually have many of those. I have 11/22/63 by Stephen King. I also have Under the Dome, but it's under a bunch of stuff and I don't want to pull it out, but it's over here. Back there. There's where it is. But I am going to choose Blackbirds. This is by Chuck Wendig. This is the Marion Black series. I think there's like 5 or 6 books. I've only read this one, but I had the first 3, and it says on here that it's soon to be a TV series. I don't know if it actually has been like released or whatever yet. I didn't love this. I'm hoping that I'll like the other books in the series, but yeah. Do you have a book that was written by somebody who was originally famous for something else? So like celebrity, music artist, whatever. And I do have several of those. So I have 2 of those because they were literally right next to each other. This is Hyena, which is by Jude Angelini. And he does like some kind of radio show podcast thing, but this is like stories from his life or something. Next I have Scale. For those of you that don't know, this is by Keith Buckley, and he is the lyricist and the vocalist for the band Every Time I Die, who I absolutely love. This is his first novel, and it's kind of a like semi-autobiographical novel from my understanding. I haven't had a chance to pick it up, but apparently he just released a second book, so I really need to read this one so that I can read his second book. I love him as a lyricist, so, and he actually has like an English degree. He was a high school teacher of English. So I know sometimes that amazing lyricists don't always translate to amazing like fiction writers, but I have really high hopes for this. So do you have a book with a clock on the cover? I do. 4 Past Midnight by Stephen King. It's a novella collection. Do you have a poetry book? And I think this is where I lose. I don't read a lot of poetry. I don't love poetry. At this point, I don't even think that I have anything written in verse. I don't have any poetry. Poetry is just not my thing. The closest thing that I get to poetry are things written in verse, and I don't have anything written in verse. So, whoops, I lose, but we're gonna keep going anyway. Do you have a book with an award stamp on it? Yes, I'm sure that I do. Ah! The Hours by Michael Cunningham, winner of a Pulitzer Prize. You can't see it through the glare, but there it is. Do you have a book written by an author with the same initials as you? Yes, I do, but it's on my other shelf over here. Dreamland by Sarah Dessen. I only have one other book that I kept by her that I haven't read. This one I've read, and this one is like very personal to me for a multitude of reasons, which is one of the reasons that I have kept it. But I am S and a D, so here we go. Do you have a book of short stories? I have a lot of books of short stories. We're gonna go with Stone Mattress by Margaret Atwood. This is 9 short stories. I have only ever read Handmaid's Tale by Atwood, so I'm looking forward to reading this, especially because I really love short fiction. Do you have a book that is between 500 and 510 pages long? We're gonna take a minute and go to Goodreads because I'm not gonna search through all these books to figure that out. 507 pages, Clive Barker's Books of Blood, which is another short story collection or novella collection. Haven't read it yet, but I've heard good things. I have a weird love-hate relationship with Barker. Do you have a book that was turned into a movie? I have so many. This is being turned into like a television series. The Amityville Horror, The Omen, Rosemary's Baby, The Ruins, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Fahrenheit 451, The Other Boleyn Girl, and that's enough. I have many, many more. I purposely skipped all the Stephen Kings that have been turned into movies. Do you have a graphic novel? I have upstairs. I'm not going to get them because I am far too lazy for that, but I do keep my graphic novels upstairs, and that is, I have the Walking Dead Compendiums 1 and 2. I have the Darkness Compendiums 1 and 2. I have the In Keeping Secrets of Silent Earth Ultimate Edition, thank you James, which is the Amori Wars. And then I have Second Stage Turbine Blade Amori Wars, I'm pretty sure. I have 2 or 3 volumes of the Hellraiser graphic novels. I have a volume of American Vampire. Yeah, I've got a nice little collection of graphic novels. Let me stop now. And lastly, do you have a book that has been written by 2 or more authors? I'm not gonna go with Black House or The Talisman. Oh, The Wife Between Us. This is by Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen. I read this earlier this year and really liked it. So that was the thing. And that is the Do I Have This Book challenge. I'd say I did pretty good. The only thing that I don't have is poetry collection. So, and I'm not mad about it because I don't love poetry. Thank you to Tabby for creating this tag. I super appreciate it. I had fun doing it. I think I'm like one of the last people to do this tag or challenge, but if you haven't done it and you wanted to, consider yourself tagged. That is all I have for you guys today. As always, if you like what you see and you want to see more, make sure you click thumbs up or hit subscribe if you have not already. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye.